a lot of people are really banging their heads against the walls, and it's I think going back to the maybe being negative in an interview response, how do you stay positive or get back into a positive mindset? Could be simply going for a walk, right? But what how do you what do you think?
I do a lot of formal and informal career coaching myself, and I am often talking to friends, and I have been in a scenario where I've been unemployed and looking for a job. And I think what I tell everyone is, let's acknowledge the elephant in the room. Job searching is mentally exhausting. It is incredibly tough because you are daily putting yourself out there, asking for judgment. And there's no way that it doesn't hurt or weigh on you in one shape or another. And oftentimes it's taking people on average, 3+ months to find a job. The market has been up and down over the past 4 years. It's really freaking hard. And I think we should all just say that and acknowledge that. And once you've acknowledged it, I think part of your job search strategy needs to be addressing your mental health and doing what you need to stay mentally well through an incredibly difficult time. And that's going to look different depending upon the person. I gave the example of when I was unemployed, I needed a place to be regularly where I felt needed and was in the presence of others, and not in my apartment rewatching Grey's Anatomy for the 8th or 9th time every day and not getting dressed. So I did temp work. I was a temp receptionist. Was that my long-term career plan? No. Was it paying what I wanted it to? No. But I was getting up every day. I was going there. I was sitting in the front of an office. I was getting to cosplay as a member of, this company for a day or sometimes longer. And that kept me mentally sharp and better than if I were to just sit around and keep doing the same thing and waiting for the opportunity to come along. And I know, Rebecca, you suggested some other ways to stay mentally well, but mental wellness needs to be a part of your job search. Otherwise, it's going to be very, very difficult. And I think that you'll have a higher hill to climb when you do finally get that role and you're starting your job, and you're going to have this post-job search hangover. So I don't know, Rebecca, if you wanted to share your suggestion for mental wellness.
Sure, I'd be delighted to do that. I told this to all of the people when I was career coaching, and I did this for myself also because, I've worked in, Joanna and I have been together for 14 years, but prior to that, ups and downs of the tech industry. I've been laid off 3 times. So I've been there as well. And I always recommend don't give up your gym membership. And if you don't have one, get one. The physical fitness is so important. And if you feel, if it's something that's challenging from a financial perspective, running free yoga videos on YouTube. But I think also really not just doing it randomly, but train for a 10K or more. Do a commitment on your Peloton app. Do it as a job. Make sure you are going 3-4 days a week. Do a routine. Learn something new. Allow yourself to have a foundation and grow in that area. I've seen that make such a huge difference. And also challenging. Do some weight training. Feel really solid. So that is just a small piece of advice. Maybe take a class in something totally unrelated to your career. Maybe take an art class. Maybe
walk dogs.
Yeah.
What's that?
Be a dog walker.
Yeah. Something that aligns with your passion outside of work. I think that can get your brain firing in different ways, right? It's like the connections that you're making. If you're only sitting at home and watching Grey's Anatomy for 8 hours a day, it's like, okay, you've got those synapses that are firing very deeply. But if you're doing something different, it's like you're making different connections in your brain, and then new ideas can open up too, right? Here's a different way that I can maybe I don't know, structure this case study, or like, oh, here's a new type of company that I want to go for. Like I feel like those sparks of inspiration happen when you're not watching the pot boil, but you are going for the walk. You are doing a cooking class, or you're doing something that's like really unrelated.
Well, and similarly, you never know who you're going to meet. I mean, you
Oh,
know,
absolutely.
you could meet your next boss in a coffee shop or at a volunteer event or at the gym. You never know.
And I'm so glad you mentioned that, because every single job I've had in my entire life has been through some random connection like that. So,
I love
and I think it's been hard also. We used to have a lot of in-person networking events that I think a lot of us got a lot out of as job seekers, as recruiters, as people in the industry, keeping up with our skill sets. And it's much harder to do virtually. That's for sure. But I think, things are starting. I mean, Design Unfiltered had a live event that was amazing. And so many people at different parts of their careers came. I think it was so enlivening. So I think looking for those live events again, and possibly things that are outside of your own discipline. I mean, I personally love in UX, in product design, but maybe something that's tertiary, maybe a product management meetup, for instance, for a designer. Like maybe that'd be a great place to meet some people, because you never know where that connection is going to come. And just putting the energy out there, I think, goes a long way.
I know, Erica, you were doing this. I don't know if you're still doing this, but you were like doing something that was challenging your comfort level regularly. So you went to this murder mystery dinner party, and I was like, what a cool thing. I mean, you weren't alone. First of all, I think that's so just wonderful that you did that. I think that'd be very intimidating for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But you did. I mean, you're so open to new things. And I'm sure you probably met people that you never would have met in the design world there, right?
Totally. For anyone listening, I did a murder mystery test run with this, I don't know, company. It was at Carmine's in Times Square. Wow. And because I dressed in like a 1920s flapper dress, they assigned me a role in the murder mystery, which is my worst nightmare. So I did that, and I don't know, it was really fun. It was very interesting, but I love going to things like that where you'll never be in the same room as these people ever again. It's so random. So I've been trying to put myself into different situations, like a yoga class. I don't really do yoga, or I went to Bathhouse in Flatiron last week. So cool. So many different people. Just these interesting environments where go by yourself, go with a friend. But yeah, you just sort of talk to people, exchange numbers. I mean, I have a dog now, so I walk him all the time. I've talked to so many neighbors. A lot of neighbors work in tech around me. Yeah. So we have a common dog thing already, but it's easier to sort of chat.
It's true.
It's a great point. And I think also what's important is make sure you mention what you do or that you're looking.
You have to put it out in the universe.
Also, use your first name and your last name. I had a mentor that was like, if you're just Rebecca, you're just Rebecca and Joe's office. You have to use your last name. I personally have a soapbox about that. If you go to an event, put your first name and last name on your name tag if there's a name tag situation, so somebody can actually look you up on LinkedIn. Yeah. But mentioning that you're on a job search, I'm a product designer in advertising, and I'm on my job search. You never know what synapses that's going to fire in somebody's brain. They might literally be like, oh, my neighbor works for blah, 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 or my uncle, my aunts, I met one of my first creative directors I ever placed. I met because my mother sang with his mother in a chorus. So you really don't know, but if people don't, it's in the theme of help people help